Hydrate, you bastard! Hydrate!
Hi. Oh my god, I'm still dying. Hi, everybody. Let's turn that down. What do I want? I really want this song. I want Baby No Money. Hello, hi, welcome. Carbonara. Cajun chicken Alfredo. Damn. Hello, hi, welcome. I love the winner today. It's Kai. And I did take my vitamins. Thank you. I will do rolls momentarily. What's to clear out junk mail? Real as hell. Real as hell. Hello, everybody. Hello. I am still sick. And by that, I have work tomorrow, so guess who's going to work? Unfortunately. At this point, there is nothing I can do. Which only kind of sucks because I have an audition to film as well. Which I almost didn't stream today because I'm like, I should get that done. I have nobody to read for me, so I can't get that done right now. In this condition, I agree, Steve. Unfortunately, I only have so many sick hours. And I can't call out 3 days in a row. So there's that. And I would say, oh, get a doctor's note. I can't get a doctor's note until Tuesday. Because That's the earliest doctor's appointment I could get, at least with my doctors. All I think is, I had wheels, should be a bike. I hate that. I hate it. But I hope you are all doing well. Do they really want me? This is thank you, baby, no money.
Go back to bed, Sarah.
B, I can't. I literally have to go to work tomorrow. I am fucked, bro. Also, I was about to message you back. Your boss will come in and but you're sick and you want to give them a big hug at the beginning of the day. I wish. I don't even get to see my bosses. No, I'm probably gonna go in tomorrow. And if I get put into a dresser spot, I am going to go cry to my friends as the lead and be like, hey, I'm not coughing sick cough, but I'm coughing uncontrollably. I don't want to make the performers uncomfortable, so can I just be in the womb for 3 days straight? What do you guys say? What? What? It's just you threatening to put Ash down, just ashes. What? Wait a minute, what? Why would you put Ash down? Pushing for Gara spam? I love my boy. Never feel sorry for Gara spam. Is that from people if they came to me and said I'm coughing a lot, but I'm not infectious? Literally, like, I'm coughing because my lungs are trying to get air out. And it's not, I do have bad coughs. I do have bad coughs in the morning, but it's getting all the mucus out of my lungs. Also, hi, Jordan. But usually by midday, and also I don't work until 3 p.m., so it's not till like later in the day, so I know I'll be fine. I'm not doing that sick, nasty cough anymore. But I'm still coughing. You guys hear me coughing. It's not bad or anything, but like, man. Sometimes I get the really bad cough when I just start actually fucking coughing, and I do not want that to happen while I'm in there. I don't want that to happen while I'm at work. I'm gonna have to fucking watch myself. I'm gonna have to watch myself so badly. For asthmatic goofballs, the sick nasty cough, yes, because it's a lot of mucus that's in the lungs. It can happen to anybody. It's highly common for me. I've had pneumonia before too, so like I'm fucked. My lungs are fucked. Cute when you're dying. Thanks. I've been dying since last week, since a fucking literal week. So I love that. But yeah, I have extra mucus in my lung because of fucking asthma. Do you perchance? Morning? Man, I need more friends. I could drag her. I don't know what she's doing either, though. Okay. Got sick on purpose that we didn't. So we didn't have our our fucking Leon S. Kennedy Goon Day. I wanted our Leon S. Kennedy Goon Day, bro. How fucking rude of me. Am I gonna see those messages? Oh. Hmm. God, I fucking sound awful when I cough like that. Like, I don't sound awful, but like, oh my god. Coming back to this later. Okay. You just are my poor sucker who likes to film stuff. It's me. Hehehe. You sound like a TB ward at the hospital in 1900s or a sad Victorian child. I'm a sad Victorian child. What was I gonna look up? I was gonna look up something. And then I fucking forgot. What were we talking about here? Whoosh, that? Ah, I know what I was gonna look up. Don't ask me how I got back there. Yeah, B is in a no hangout zone. She got a fucking show to do. What am I typing in? This 9? Yeah, this is 9. It would just be on Nexus Mods. I really want to mod the fuck out of Resident Evil 9, you guys. But I need can I like save these? I can endorse. Class time. Bye bye. Yes, she is doing Little Shop of Horrors. She is an ASM. Yeah, she's an ASM. I was like, is she SM? No, she's ASM. It's just all on Nexus. I just gotta find a lot of mods. Will enough play Resident Evil today? No, I don't think I'm gonna play. I think I just want to chill. I was thinking about playing, if I play Resident Evil, it's modding the fuck out of Resident Evil 9. But I'll postpone our Revelations Day, Kai. I will postpone it. Postpone it. Also, you're cooking pasta. Focus on the pasta. The cheese. Focus on the cheese. Focus on the cheese. I was gonna say, I kind of wanted to play Claire Obscure. Not gonna lie. But also, what if we just mod the fuck out of Resident Evil 9 and restart? There's just so many mods. Really takes a hard time to mod? Really? Ain't done cooking yet? Good. Focus on the pasta. Don't worry about Resident Evil today. Don't worry about Resident Evil today. Focus on the pasta and come back to us with a report of how pasta is. Sorry, just coughing like a little baby. Let's see. I mean, let me look at one of these things. Let me find a funny one. That's a funny one, but I don't want that one. That's so funny. You can use Vortex. I've never used Vortex before. I'm worrying about you. Oh. Honestly, I was 50-50 about... Oh my god, they turned the game into How to Train Your Dragon. I got really... Oh my god. I was 50-50 about streaming today. I'll probably just do another short stream. I'm super stressed about getting this audition done because it's for a SAG project, so it's like a union project, so it's really good. And I I put this in like 3 days ago or so, but now I got it last night. I was watching movies and stuff, and there was no way I was going to film last night. But I could have prepared and tried to film it today, but I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it. I got the email at 6 p.m. I didn't see it until 11 p.m. And then I went to bed, and then I woke up. And then I actually looked at it, and then I saw what day it was due. It's due tomorrow by 7 p.m. They did say it is a short turnaround. If you do need more time, we can work with it. And I'm like, no, I'm going to get this done. Can you do it while coughing? Modding while coughing. Oh, the audition. Truth be told, I don't even, like, I think I sound... I can hold my coughs off. I sound almost back to my normal self, but I have to slate in that audition, and I am going to add one extra slate at the end, because it's like name, height, location, and then I'm going to put, I have a sore throat. I sound a lot more raspier than I normally do. Because unfortunately, you know what the unfortunate part is, that like I'm not even auditioning for like an older person or like my age person. I'm auditioning for a younger person, so it sounds even worse that I sound like this. Anyways, that's that. So it's very funny. Also, hi Ryu, thank you for the honk. Pink suit. Oh my god, it's a shirtless Gideon one with physics. With physics? What does physics mean? What? I'm gonna do some rolls. Sorry. Sounds smoky and sexy. Yeah, I'm supposed to play a 17-year-old. So that's unfortunate. Hello, Mr. Mr. Jams, Mr. Pants. Dolly. Let's see it. Turn up. You're the first roll. 5, 11, and 13. So you're doing good today. Kai, let's roll for pasta. 15, 9, and 5. You're doing good. Hopefully the back is a little bit better. It's not super low, but it's still low. But the pasta's gonna be great. Goomba. 7, 4, and 11. I hope you're not getting sick. I saw that, but it didn't show up there for that. Interesting. Okay, Ryu. 3, 3, and a 9. You're doing good. A little lower, but you're doing good. A little better. More stressed than anything, not gonna lie. Real as hell. Real as hell. Hey, Kev. I have to show up like work. I have to show up like work. I have to show up at work like this tomorrow. That was an improper, like, I can't speak English. Next up is Doc. 7, 19, and a 19. You're doing good today. Hopefully. I'll fight. Anyways, back to physics. How do I... Video. Sorry. Well, but yeah, I'm not even like sick, but I hate showing up to work. But like, you know how work is. I just can't be calling out like that. Called out once, luckily, because last week I had a day off. I had an ADO, and I only called out the one day. I can't afford this week. Fluffy manager. Fluffy manager. I got kicked out of my office. Why'd you get kicked out of your office? I'm looking at shirtless Gideon. It's so funny. Gideon has become a lot of people's hear me outs. That's acceptable. That gives Grace Jizzle just oh my god, jiggle physics. That's crazy. High fire. Not so golden. Okay. Visible 9 item overlay. Interesting. Yep, jizzle now. That's the word. Oh, my window is wide open. I'll have you know. Sorry. Kids for looking at shirtless Gideon, perhaps. I hope not. We can have shirtless tyrant. We can do shirtless tyrant. Same person who made shirtless Gideon. Here's a couple other ones that I actually really do like. I'm just gonna have to actually mod. Someone say Charlotte, yeah. Really Santa, man, GTA, what a fucking game. Oh, OG Hunkhead on Hunk. I just found your people in the mod section, Nikki. There's a mod that gives the just. Oh my god, why am I putting Z? It's not even like the Freudian slip because I'm not inserting that word. I'm still saying jiggle. I'm just changing the G's to the Z. They were running and screaming. Kids on the train. Ugh. Sorry, I sound pathetic when I cough like that. I do love that song, but I don't want it right now. I do love this song. Nathan, why did they replace her face with that? That was a shocking mod. Corn callbacks. Disgusting. Oh, I have the best voice for that. Disgusting. Anyways, fire. 7, 9, and 11. You are doing good. A little bit low, but that's because of the nuisance. So yeah. You are doing good though. Ooh, Ashley's outfit on Grace. Oh, a volatile from Dying Light? That's gonna be scary. Ben 10. Oh my god, yes. I actually do really want this one. I just don't know how to mod. I do, but I don't. Oh, I see, I see. Okay, so what's, would it be under utility? I need to download something so that I can find that something. I wonder if I can find it through this, if I go here. Testing. Please show me, please. No, I can't. My brain's just auto-playing sound bits in my head. That's it. I'm adding Elliot to my Tomodachi life. Real as hell. My friends asked me for informations and everything because they're like, I'm gonna add you to my Tomodachi island. I'm like, oh hell yeah. Thank you. Oh, that hurts yawn. That's fine though. I mean, the week is almost over though, so that's good. Nigel's body suit. 5 for Grace. Ooh, that'd be quite cute actually. Hello, Junior. How are you? I'll do your role in 1 second. I'm not crying, I swear. My eyes are like burning. I didn't even put like makeup on my eyes. But damn, they burning. Got me, she got me. Bang, bang. I would say you guys want to watch my Warframe, but I already romanced a romanced author, and I'm so happy. He. Let me do Junior's role. Okay, you knocked over my bill. Are you gonna pay my bill? 5, 7, and an 18. So you're doing good, Junior. Can you stay up, Bill, please? Okay. Wish somebody would put me the link to the other mod, which I need. Not wipe you. Oh, this is that one song. I do like this song, but I don't want. Yeah, we're gonna listen to Eminem. Okay, so, in order to mod, we need to find a certain mod. But I don't know how to find that mod. Because I don't know how. Ba ba ba. Ba ba ba. Bow bow bow. Bow bow bow. Bow bow bow. Bow. It's just bows. Bow bow bow. Bow bow bow. I hope somebody knows what bow bow is from, what I'm referencing by bow bow. I'm doing okay, none of this is what I need. Okay. Hope you're feeling better today. Honestly, I feel just about the same. I am coughing a little bit less, and that may not seem like a lot, but I swear to God to you guys, I am actually coughing so little, and I'm doing my bestest. It just doesn't sound like it, okay? It just doesn't. It doesn't sound like it. But yeah. Other than that, I'm doing much better. I do have to go to work tomorrow, as I have stated. So yes. Oh my god, when can rock? You said. Okay. I was like, you said piano version, so let me find that one specifically. Okay. I was sore this morning. I had to stretch for like an hour before getting out of bed. No, that's real as hell. It'd be like that sometimes. Core. Custom character camera. I don't really care about. That is such a pathetic. Becoming old. Welcome. Welcome to. Sorry, that sounded like I was reacting. That looked like I was reacting to you, Junior, but that was me reacting to the fact that my birthday's coming up. I'm turning you so old. I'm not even that old. I'm not even that old. I'm not even that old because somebody willingly asked me to audition for somebody that's 17, so I'm not that old. Anyways, okay, let's see. I need to find the one. Okay, popular. Ah. Okay, this is the one thing we need. Okay, it is one of the most popular ones. There is another one that they recommend. Recommend? Recommend? Am I older or younger than you? I'm gonna be honest, Junior. I actually don't remember. I just know you're, no, a little birdie says, there would be no way that she would be around my age, you know? There'd be no way, no. But I actually don't remember. I know we discovered him. One of us is older. For joke purposes, I'll say I'm older. I mean, well, but then you know the information I want to know. No, we'll sit in this. One of us will finally remember. Saved in my calendar it's that it's that weird. Gothic used to have a little calendar that she made that was a whole bunch of people's birthdays. Okay, frame that's the one that I need, but I need one other thing. Wonder if it's under utility. No? What is this under? Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous popular. There's one other mod that I need to download. Okay, that's my script that I have to learn. That's my guinea pig. I like this, Ryu. I like the piano very much. So true, we're just twins. So does that mean we're gonna age on the same day as my birthday? You can have an early birthday? I don't remember when your birthday is. Fuck, I don't remember anything, Junior. I don't remember anything. And I know we had a whole epiphany about this. I don't remember anything though. Oh my god, dude. I did okay. Do you want my rant of the day? Do you want my like tangent of the day? Turning 17 this year? Oh my god, no way. Big 29, right? Yes, I am. My friend is turning the big 30 this year. We're going to the Twilight House. We're going to Bella Swan's house. Quite excited. I'm very excited. My tummy just went. What was I gonna say? Oh, my big epiphany, my big like rant. There's like the so I have really big bags under my eyes. The underneath of my eye sockets are just genuinely like you can see the creases. You know how Jill Valentine has the like constant eye bags? That is me. Also, I have a dimple on my chin. I also have a dimple on my chin. Hee It very much makes me appreciate it because I do not want to be an iPhone face. Also, I have whatever this is. I think it's just a pimple. It is. Sorry, I touched it. I was like, yeah, that's what that is. It's just been bugging me because I can see it every time I turn and I see this side of my computer. I want to. I just think of the Sonic edits with this. But because like, man, you know, the iPhone faces are kind of boring. The iPhone faces are like, honestly, I just want to say the best way to describe it is just another way of saying like the standard like pretty face. Like there's no unique features. No, that's the song that haunts me. I do love gossip. I love gossip so much. That's that. I hear iPhone face used a lot more like when I'm on TikTok and whatnot. But as somebody who um beats herself up about everything, I'm actually very happy and I'm learning to not beat myself up about that, especially about my eye bags. Pretty? Am I boring? You're not boring. Also, it's not a bad thing to be like an iPhone face type person. I'm just like, eh. I ain't getting rid of these eye bags. These are golden bags under my eyes. And like, I almost said face up, makeup. I can't speak proper words today. It's like the cookie cutter. Oh yeah, it's my epiphany that I had of I don't want to be a star fitting in a circle cookie cutter. I want to fit in the star cookie cutter. I like fit in the star cookie cutter. Ow. The side of my throat is where it's fucked up. Ooh. Sorry, I haven't played Hunt Showdown in a while. But I still like, the what's new on the Steam is there. They have a new character. She is a very pretty. I do like her. I was cut with a ginger. You were cut with a gingerbread man cutter. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You are a gingerbread man. You are a gingerbread man. Do you know where the? Oh my god. The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man! I forgot what his fucking name was! I forgot the Muffin Man's name! I had to go back into my Shrek knowledge and like, I was like, what's the quote? What's the whole gumdrop quote? I had to play it all in my head to get to the Muffin Man. Damn, I sound pathetic, dude. I sound fucking pathetic. How I'm coughing? Look at this cat bookmark. It's adorable, isn't it? I can't open it. I can't. There we go. It's a magnetic one. So it like closes on the page, Calling me a gingerbread man? Yes. Yeah, I have this cat sleeping on a bed. I have this cat. I have this cat. I have this cat. I have this cat. I like this cat a lot. I like this cat. I like this cat. I have this cat. I like this cat. I have this cat. I have this cat. And I have this cat. And I had one more, but my mom wanted one, so I gave her one. Hee 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 hee. I have a whole stack of cats. I don't want... No. I almost said no Pride and Prejudice. I shouldn't be streaming. Speak any proper English, boys. Oh my god, I didn't leave the review of it. I watched a movie. Oh my god, I was on TikTok. Dash's broken ribs and we ended up in a sea urchin in our foot. Damn. This person got fucked up by the ocean. Dude, the ocean fucked these people up. A stack of cats. You mean a mountain? I got a mountain of cats over here. Oh my god. Sorry, it was an unfinished TikTok. I did not finish. They got fucked up by the ocean. That's all I can say. What was I gonna look up? Does anybody remember? They do so much. I can't even sing. I wanted to buy that had Jesus on it, staring, and it said, "This smut, isn't it?" It'd be so fucking funny. I literally grabbed my phone for something. Primate movie. I watched a movie last night. Oh my god. My friend did not like the new Super Mario movie. That's so funny. I watched Primate last night, which I knew was a bad movie already because I had a lot of friends already tell me. When I tell you the last like probably 20 minutes of that movie or 30 minutes, I just kept on skipping ahead because I'm like, okay, I don't need to be seeing this. That was a stupid fucking movie. I absolutely hated it. What was like, oh, okay. Pasta's really good. What type of cheese did you use? What type of cheese connoisseur are you today? As we leave a review. I don't take my reviews seriously. 1 star? I don't even want to give it a 1 star. No, I'll give it a 1 star. I don't take my reviews seriously on Letterboxd, but it's kind of just like something I can look back on, you know? May have made a bit too much. Pasta for later. There's like 4 cheeses in this. Oh my god. A cheese connoisseur today you are. Good. Good to hear. We do love cheese. I love cheese so much. What review are we leaving for this? I don't even have words. Um, nah, it's not gonna have a proper review. I just put, not gonna lie, I just skipped around this movie. It's just, nah. That's my review for Primate. That movie was so fucking stupid, and there was so much unnecessary, gruesome, like gore scenes that I'm like, okay, I get you want to be a gory movie because you're horror, but like it's making me uncomfortable, and also the plot shit. So okay, I do like the dad because he was in another movie that was about sign language because he's deaf. So I do actually like that actor. But like movie wise, time I think of sea urchins, all I can think of is a Surf's Up movie. Sometimes that dude danced on me, bro. You know the whole thing. Oh my god. So bad about Primate. Let me cover the whole thing. Be no pasta for later. I will eat it all in one sitting. Like a fucking champ you are. Like a fucking champ you were, Kai. Food and fortune. Okay, you have tremendous potential for success. Yes, you do. Absolutely do. In this term, in this time, Junior, we're gonna call you Queen. Yes, you do, Queen. You do have that potential for success. More than you, but we both oxen. Oh, that's what we. Yes, we are both oxen. Okay, so the primate review is one. It opened up with a scene of a man getting his face ripped off, which I thought, oh, did this take place before everything? No, it's something that takes place in the middle of the movie, which, like, okay, time wise, perfectly fine. I don't really care. Anyways, he rips off his face, and that was my first instance of like, oh, I don't really like that, and that's just me not wanting gore for once. But it was like unnecessary, and I'm like, oh, hi, quiet, hi, quiet. Sorry, the cough is there still. The cough is there. But when I tell you, if you guys have ever seen 47 Meters Down, I love 47 Meters Down. That movie was really good. Loved that. 47 Meters Down
Hydrate, you bastard!
Uncaged
Hydrate!
was the stupidest shit I've ever watched. But I enjoyed it because it was stupid, but it was stupid teenagers, and that's what this movie is. Stupid teenagers. So many of them died in so many ways that I'm just like, what was the point? What was the point? It was just unbelievable. I think only 3 of them lived at the end. No, I think only 2 of them lived at the end. I think that other girl died. I don't actually remember because I skipped through it. Talking about films, yes, because I watch. I've been trying to watch through new movies so I can get through my list. Last night was not a good one. I knew it wasn't a good one though, quiet, so it's okay. But otherwise, I'm doing good. No improvements, but no worsening of my sickness, so it's okay. Good luck in the mines, Junior. Good luck in the mines. Thank you for the hugs. At least I'm not getting worse, so I'll take it. Oh. Okay, Papa Roach. Papa Roach, I don't need you right now. I do actually really love this song. Oh, that's what game I really wanted to play. I don't have it downloaded right now. Maybe I start it on Monday. I really wanted to play Inscription, so I might start that and play through that. That game made me cry. I've never played it, but it's the last thing that Jordy streamed back in the day. Jingle, jingle, jingle. And I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did watch the ending, and that ending I fucking cried. As I'm sat there watching watching him just finish it all and all of that, I'm just like, But now I'm sad. Fucking spectacular game. To play it again, I fucking love Inscription. I just never myself have played it, so I would like to play it myself. Great game. Wonderful. I have a lot of other horror games. I really want to play the Huntsman game. It's the one I played for Halloween, but the full thing came out. And that's just my need for like more horror games. I really like small horror games. Oh, I have one in I should buy that. I just need to collect some more horror games, but like it's in terms of like I want to grow, so I want to grow some people and followers here or viewers, the overall mumbo jumbo number go up, because then like streaming small horror games much more fun. But I should make more. I need to figure out how to do a lot more tech stuff for stream. I think I just don't want to, because that means I got to put more time into that, and I can't put more time into other things. So it's time and balance. My life into pizza. This is my plastic fork. Inscription is fun. I'm gonna be stupid at it because I'm really bad at card games. I get the hang of it and I get good eventually, but I am just actually bad. If we open up Balatro right now, you guys can see I am bad. If Oppo was here with us. I say as if he's fucking dead. Oppo is not dead. Oppo just hasn't been online. Oppo would be disappointed in me. I miss my roughly 12 to 14 Skittles boy. Oh, last online 5 days ago, my roughly 12 to 16 Skittles. I love his fucking username. Oh, he would be disappointed in me. That's another game I have on my wish list. Someone else, a horror game called Grave Season. Dude, I'm so glad we actually have a fucking date for that game, though. It's been fucking ages. I've been waiting. I've been waiting for that fucking game. Like, God, can it come out any faster? What is Vigil? Oh, Vigil is that one. I see. I see. I'm like trying to think of games I want to play, but I'm in a weird mood lately where I don't have that much motivation for stream. Editing, kind of. We could just edit today, but I don't really feel like that. I'm a little stressed out about the audition thing. I'm not going to lie, but it's not like I know the lines right now to even go film, nor do I have somebody to actually film with. So I can't even do it right now. So after stream, I'm just going to take the time to actually learn my lines and be comfortable with it, you know? And then I'm going to bombard my other friend and be like, please watch this. Please tell me. I would have liked to film it today, so I had more time. But yeah, film with chat, I wish. But unfortunately, I can't hear you guys, so I can't do that. Otherwise, you guys would be a spectacular, filming buddy if you guys are always here, you know? Oh my God, I forgot Coco supplied us with all the fucking Sonic games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fucking 10 Sonic games in our family Steam share. Oh my God, I kind of miss Slenderman. Slenderman Arrival was really fun. Sleeping Dog, Slay the Spider. Oh, we could try to learn how to play Slay the Spider today. Slay the Spider? That would be correct. Ooh. But like, I don't think I could see myself playing Slay the Spider for too long. We can't do a long stream again today because Slay the Princess. Okay. Do you know who's in Slay the Princess? Oh, hello. It's like dying still. Hello, Steven. Right when I mentioned Slay the Princess, I don't have a download phone. It's gonna take like a minute if I want to play that today. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, bow.
Hydrate, you bastard! Hydrate!
Who texted me? Oh, the Hype House. I don't know what compelled me to like just like open up that. Eat this right meow. Because your friends, I'm dying still. I've been sick since last week. It's just a sore throat and a fucking cough now. It won't go away. Anyways, Quiet, you would like this as well. For my Kai, for my bear, and for my Quiet, Slay the Princess has a familiar voice. As I like to joke, is somebody wasn't making enough money from the archives. So Jonathan Sim picked up some more work because the voice of Jonathan Sim is the narrator in Slay the Princess. Dark I don't know why I fucking sound like that. I like to joke. He just needed some more money. The archives wasn't making him enough money, so he just did a kick on the side, you know? Anyways, yeah, I'm fucking dying. The thought of playing Slay the Princess today is there now. I'm scrolling through my games. Get out of the game. He needed to make some money, okay? The archives wasn't getting him enough money. Oh my god, Skate. I really do want to play The Sims, I won't lie. Really behind on archives? I am too. I'm really hoping I could just swing my way to just stay in the room all weekend because I don't want to be around people coughing. Hi, Shaylin. Hello. Fuck it up, listen to archives. Me tomorrow. Me actively tomorrow going, I'm not gonna fucking forget my headphones. I should just charge those and put them away. Right meow. As a random thought, I really want to use this bag tomorrow. It's my water deep bag. And I don't think it's a good bag. It's a tote that doesn't have any pockets. Are you working this weekend? Yep. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'm going to go into work each day, Shayla, and be like, oh. Okay, I'm not going to sound like a car starting. Or I'm just going to beg them like, hey, can I please stay in the room? I'm coughing like an obnoxious bitch. Please. I can't afford to be around people. I'm not even sick. I sound awful. I sound like a fucking smoker. Answer? Is it him? What? Oh. Nothing. Yes, I am. I'm a scorn. Can paint your race, change rose. Oh, buddy, bitch. Well, thank you, Ryu. Why, thank you. Gonna be okay? Shaylin, we need to have a proper hangout. I don't like your funny little words. I'm gonna take out your brain, shine it, and give you some dopamine, serotonin, everything nice. I'm like little kitties. I'm gonna send you cat pictures. I'm gonna send you cat pictures right now. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have so many text messages. I have so many text messages. Do you want a picture of... I think I'm being swerved? What does that mean? I don't like that. I don't like that either way. I don't like that either way because you're saying it's fine. It's fine. Gradually. Oh, okay. I didn't know what that term was, but I'm like, oh, I have a sneaky suspicion of where this is going. Do you want a picture of me with Dr. Pepper on my head? Ever play Cry of Fear? I actually have never played that one. Oh, I don't want to take a picture. I still can send you a picture of my little void to make your day better. Why can't we all just be happy? Oh, you want a picture of me with Dr. Pepper on my head? Okay. Okay, good. I was like, wait a minute, who am I sending this to? It is to Shaylin. Just gotta make sure. You get a picture of my boy and me. I think my only memory of Cry Free recently is Kraken and their gang playing. Sorry, Carnival. Rookie. I love this song. I haven't heard this song in so long. I love Miku. My brain doesn't want me to be Happy Juice. I'm gonna put Happy Juice in everybody's brain. What did I do to MOBA so I can play silly games? What silly game are you playing today? Cry Fear. How did Charborg and them? I don't even know if Charborg was in that video. I'm pretty sure Charborg was. But like Kraken and all them. How did it? You can play multiple people in Cry Fear, can you? Oh, you're so right. I think I have Dishwashing Simulator downloaded. What if I turn off all the lights in my room? How do I spell dish? Dishwashing Simulator. Fuck it out. What are we? Fuck it. Less subbing with Prime. Somebody sub with Prime? I still look like a sad Victorian child. Sorry, I see Labyrinth. Okay, we're gonna play that. I have so many other things in my inventory. Hold on, I'm scrolling. Analyzing. I have not played Control. I really gotta play Control. It's eating cards time. I will be like, it's Thursday. Eat their cards. Eat their ankles. Quiet. Quiet. You can do it. I have never played Control, Jordy. Okay, I'm a fucking failure, okay? I've played Alan Wake. I've played Alan Wake 2. I've played Alan Wake 2 twice. Halfway through, I haven't finished it. And I've never played Control. Did I watch the Control new trailer? Yes. Did I understand nothing? Yes. Do I remember it? No. Besides, man being, oh. Shit.
I be streaking my shit RN who up streaking they shit RN.
I be streaking my shit RN who up streaking they shit RN.
I think I really gotta fix my stream. I think I really need to take like a week of stream and just fix up everything because I still don't know why I have two voices. Anyways, some people don't think that I do me like that, but I do. You know what I love? Deadlock. Did I sub with my Prime? I forgot I have it. Fuck yeah. Use their money. Yeah. I get their money. Thank you, Steven. Feel bad for this gecko. What did you do to this gecko? I miss having a gecko. The ball. I don't want to play the ball. I miss backrooms. Person love double voices? It's really fucking funny, but I gotta figure out where the fuck it's coming from. Beat Saber. Oh, I could play Beat Saber now. Why not Beat Saber? Oh, Family Share. Bioshock. I'm just going to Blasphemous. Really good. Blasphemous, really good. Gotta play that sometime. Buckshot Roulette. Oh, Cabin Factory was really good. The fact that I had the idea of playing Claire Obscure today, it's getting derailed now. You fall into the ocean and sail away with friends and family?
Wow.
Thank you, Turnip. I love little geckos. Control. Oh, I have the Ultimate Edition. Oh, how nice. Corpse Party. I don't want to be traumatizing in it. Crime Boss? Crow Country. Crow Country, good. There's some new Chilla's art games that are coming out that I really want to play. Digicam fucked me up though. Dead Island, Dead Rising. I have so many of those games. Dead Space. Dead.
Dicks!
Oh my god. Jesus Christ, why was that one so much louder? Oh my god, there's so many games that I have that say dead. It's just dead. And it's death. And that Deceive Inc. Rest in peace, Deceive Inc. Doll Mare, don't scream. Don't starve together. Doom, doom, doom. Dota. Dragon, dragon, dragon,
Suck.
dragon, dragon. Oh my god. I love Otto so much. I can't wait to see her again. Dying, dying, dying. I love this. Wow. We do have Escape the Michael Jackson game. Faith, I did play that. How long did that take? 8 hours? That's not bad. I could have done that in one stream. Fear, 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 fear. No, it goes fear, 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 fears, 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 feel. There's a yap button in your Gecko game. I love that. New Don't Starve, they did. I did see that. I'm very excited about that. I have a friend who would very much like that, so I hope he saw it. I don't know if he has, but I have not spoken to them in a couple of days because I keep watching movies instead. I love it. I love a yap button. So I like gulped. Half-Life, Half-Life. Oh my god. Oh my god. Half-Life, 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 Half-Life. Why is there so many? What is Heart? Oh, I don't want to play Heartbound. Okay, so I think we're gonna play Dishwashing Simulator. I don't remember how scary that is, because I don't think I ever actually watched somebody play it. Inscription. Actually, let's download Inscription. I'm not gonna play it right now. I think I'm gonna start that Monday. I don't know. Maybe I'll break some... Fuck pirate software? Why are you fucking pirate software, Jody? Don't do that! In this economy? You can get a... You... No, okay, the joke was only funny in my head. The joke was only funny in my head. I can't say it. Ah, he made our... Who owns this game in there? Say it no.
Hi, pretty people. It's lovely to see you.
What is
However, I have no
Cabernet
volume.
Citro.
Hope
Oh, it's
you're doing well.
haunted. I need to play Layers of Fear. I kind of hate them, but I have the games. Oh, I have another short horror game. I downloaded that a long time ago before I started getting scheduled on Fridays, and then I never got to play this because then we stopped doing Friday horror games. I hate the rat. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. Can't stand that bitch. Can't stand that bitch at all. I'm going to subject you guys to whatever horror game I'm going to put on now. I was just going to subject us to some, Nubby's Number Factory, Claire Obscure, I think, but no, now it's been derailed. Dishwashing Simulator, it is. Parasocial, Persona, Phasmophobia. I wish I liked Phasmophobia. I just don't like it as much now. I do still love it, but it's not, I don't know, it's not the same. My brain doesn't like it as much as it used to. Prototype. Oh, Psalm 5913 was really fun. I never finished A Quiet Place. What's the first game I ever saw you play? Yeah, I did love it. I used to love that game so much. But like, I don't know. I just don't care for it too much. It's not as fun as it used to be. Okay, do we want to play Dishwashing Simulator? I don't remember how scary this game is. Because it's so stupid. I don't remember all this in here. Should play Gecko Gecko Gods. Fuck yeah. It was a first for me. Yes, it was. And then we banned you. We do have Easy Delivery Company as well. The chillest game. Let me look at that. Gecko Gods. Oh, he's so cute. I love gecko lizards. They're so cute. He's so cute. I love geckos. Okay. 9 Inch Nails. I don't need that right now. Cat's Eye. I do love Red Hot Chili Peppers. The first game was right. Probably Stardew. I feel like it was Stardew. Jordy, we need to play FPC Firebreak one day in the fucking year. Oh, fucking we ball. You guys are here. Yes, yes, we fucking do. Do. There's a really pretty lady in Hunt now. I saw her DLC thing on the front page. She's very pretty. What's a funny title? I'm not funny. I'm not funny. What game are you playing? I don't know. I think I want to play Dishwashing Simulator. I think I'm just saying fuck it and just playing whatever. Or I can play Slay the Spire. That's not horror at all. Game? Good luck. Good luck, Steven. Have fun. Stay safe. Except for play Hunt. I don't even think it's updated. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Hunt. It is updated. It's been so long since I played Hunt. I cannot play Hunt on stream. I cannot vibe and play. That's a bold lie because I do vibe and play, but I get so stressed out that game. I need to hear. I need to hear and I need to lock in so I can aim. Okay. Okay. The woman was too stunned to speak. We're just gonna move the road to 2K over because I want that there, but unfortunately that's really fucking funny. So that's going there. We're gonna take this out because that's not up anymore and doesn't work. It can have that full there. That's so fucked up, Jordy. I don't even remember this horror game, but I've had it downloaded for so long. Okay, we put that there. Okay, Red Hot Chili Peppers, shut the fuck up. Nothing's gonna be right. What if I turn it to a shrimp? I can't. I literally can't. What the fuck thing that I need? Sorry, sad Victorian child here. Game sound. This button? Yes. This one? Dishwash. Shipping. I'm sitting like I'm like stats. Six, 8, and a 4 for you. Jordy's did win. Just because Jordy's funny. But I will topple with Kodiak's funnier. I miss Kodiak. They're not dead. They're just not here. And by they're not here, I mean I'm not playing Deadlock with my friends. I think I love Deadlock. I love Deadlock. I love Deadlock. I didn't even make sure everything was like loaded up right. Me every time I'm not with my friends and I'm like, I wish they were here. Just like, oh, when did they pass? I'm so sorry. No, they're not here. They're not dead. They're just shitting. They're just in the bathroom shitting. Oh, look at me in a box. Stop breathing like that, bro. Oh my Jesus Christ. I think that was a bit unnecessary. Can I fall into the hole? You can't put a hole right in front of me. Fuck. Let me go in the hole. Okay, fine. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. Nope, give me the book. Dishwashing F. F. E. Q. Okay, I don't know how to read. The elevator a survival game? Is this like, I want to say The Pit, but not The Pit as the nursing show. I mean The Pit as like where it comes down with like the level of foods. With the lower you are, the less food it is because you eat as they consume. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can I dump it all out? Oh my god. Movie about capitalism? Yes. This bread. Storing my bread safely on my bed. Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, shit. What? Okay, computer on the fucking floor then. We'll lay down kicking our feet. I really want to play Voices of the I almost said Voices of the VOD. Voices of the VOD. The Void. It's not how you wash dishes. I'll have you know. Oh, give me that. Computer. Computer. Make this guy super gay and horny. That's me, it's you. Computer. Take this man's foot. Okay, well, it's fucking dirty as hell. Is this bread or is this a loofah? My bread storage. Jordy, I'm getting my dreams. Bread. It's my only food supply. Bread. I'm in heaven. I love bread. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. This bitch clean. Oh my god, my eyes. So many more. Can I like... Oh. Wasn't this lovely? I won't lie though, my sponge is dirty as hell, bro. I got a big belly. I was thinking dynamo. How am I supposed to do an audition and pretend to be somebody younger when I sound like I'm fucking 30 or 40? Bro, it's almost like my actual age. Please clean. Please. Can I like eat the bread? Maybe I should like read. Oh my god, maybe I should read. I see like the bottom corner has stats. I don't know if you guys can see. It's your stats, not mine, you know. I can hurt myself. Am I hungry? Not yet. Is this how many I have to clean in a day? Oh. That shit rank, bro. Sitting in a hot tub. 5 feet of pockets and nothing. This isn't fun. I can't play mermaids in this. I can't play mermaids in here. There's that beautiful sound. Oh, my ear. I'm gonna get you. That just looks like... I'm cleaning the cup. I'm cleaning the cup. I hate cups. Squeak, 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 squeak. I should play Deadlock. Can this be clean? I should kidnap the Deadlock people and put the sim in the game. What? Was it English? Was it English? You know, when I stream, I end up forgetting everything funny in the world. Did the not get? Yes, it was. I love him. What's... Oh. Fine. Oh, I'm not really like thirsty. Can I go in the hole? Can I do anything here? I mean, I found the hole. Oh, fine. I should get sheep. Can I sleep? No, wait until. Oh! I didn't think it was that easy. Oh. Okay. Show me, I could have gone other places besides, like, Go Buddha. What the fuck am I? This place stinks. Where the hell am I? Do I need to find more dishes? Hello? Hello? It's me you're looking for. It's getting freaky over there. Oh, that's a nice cabinet. Can I take it back home? Do you think they'll mind if I just like... What are you? A mannequin. Fuck you. Startled me. Don't look at me. Don't. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Is that a golden plate? I'm full. Got a big old belly. Big belly. Okay. Nobody touch me, I got a golden plate. Nobody touch me, I got a golden plate. What the fuck? Do we go back in? Let's go back up. That was that bear trap there the whole time? Who's trying to touch my little piggies? Oh. Oh, you made me draw my plate. You could have made me draw my croissant. Okay, give me my little dish. Exhilarating. Absolutely exhilarating. The fucking squeaky noise. Is this gonna, like, do I get more money? It went from 4 to 12? What the depths. The progression for dummies. You haven't. Deja vu sound? Oh, okay. Put that next to my computer. My light reading, you know, in the middle of the night. Okay, back to washing this cup. How do I know? Oh, is it nighttime now? It's 7 p.m. That's a decent time to go to bed. I would probably get made fun of. Get it. Get it. Can I, like... There we go. Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. I don't know. Who goes to bed at 7 p.m.? Me. God, I fucking wish. I fucked up my sleep schedule by getting sick. God forbid a bad bitch gets sick. God forbid a bad bitch has tummy issues. Can't believe I've done this to myself.
Sleep.
I know how to, like, come. God, I'm not gonna lie, the IRL noises scared me. I'm going to ball. I'm going to ball. I'm going to ball. Dangerous to stay up till 8:30. Crazy. Crazy. Ballsy move there. Oh, hello? What if I don't want to? Oh. God damn. How do these not break? How am I short? You're under threat? You're being watched? Feel there's an escape route? I'm here to help. Trust. Expect my call. Okay. I'll try to place the phone down nicely. Okay. Well. Dishes. Ew, that shit's rank. I'm just gonna throw it all in there. It's only... Oh, we got a bowl. Ebola. That's not what that is. Okay. You are an old man. Your worst day is about to happen when I start streaming at night again. The worst day of your life is when I do night streams again because they're calling my name. Oh, where's my sponge? No, move. Can I, like... Can I order a new sponge? Can I order a new sponge? Is this like... Oh, I have to use. God, let me in, bro. Well, how when you do two stream night, your bedtime is ruined when I stream nights. They're bun to clean the sponge. I fucking wish. This sponge is fucking disgusting. I'm doing donuts. I'm doing donuts. I can't believe yesterday on Deadlock. Why we got 3 donuts happening on this team? I don't know, sir. I told you I was bad. And then you called me bad at the end. Too late. I already called myself bad. I already said the insults to myself. You can't hurt my feelings. I did. Man, I don't shut the fuck up, bro. Whoop. Give me that. So now I get my strength and pass out. Real as hell. Move. I want this one. God. We're just gonna wash these. They're free dishes. It's okay. My God. I feel like that was faster than normal. Like, who are these dishes? Who are you? Who are you? And why are you here? I'm gonna get inside the ball. Holy shit, balls are a speed run. Okay, so, but like, I don't want to go back down there. I hate cups. I hate cups. Oh my God. You know what would be goated as fuck? What if I bring my basket down there? What if I bring my basket down there and then I fill up my basket and then carry the basket? You know? I was using it for my food storage, but like, I can leave my bread on my bed. You know, little bread bed. Can this be clean? Please, you're almost there. I really gotta fucking sneeze. Oh my God. Okay. Sneeze is best. What if I like... I do think I actually gotta eat. Oh, shit. Stop. Why are you attached to the phone? How did I do that? Wait, why is... Okay, bread bed. Bread bed. Bread bed. Water. Oh, fuck you. Oh, thank God they separated. Don't you dare connect again. Okay. Okay, taking my little shopping bin and going. Do you think this will work? Where? I don't want it. I don't want it at all. Oh wow. Oh my God. Okay, I think I'm psyching myself out. Okay, carrying this is actually much scarier. The back rooms. Yeah, this is the back rooms. Help. I am under the water. Gotta itch my nose. Good thing this mouse is wireless. Okay. Wonder if I can carry this. I can't. I thought everything changed for a moment. I think I'm losing my mind. Oh God, my brother's jingling in there. No. It looks like somebody was right there. The mines. The nether. Hello? Okay. I don't think there's anything scary. Cup, stay in there. Oh. No. Get in. What's that noise? Oh my. No. Not my cups. Not my cups. Not my cups. My blades. No, my cups. My blades. You think this will work? He's laughing at me. He's stinky. I know he's happening. Oh. Do you think he saw me? Do you think he saw me? Hey, so this was a really bad hiding spot. Oh. What the fuck do you mean? There's 4 of them. Why are they all right there? What the fuck is happening? What are they doing? What the fuck? What the fuck is happening? Can I help you? I gotta go to bed, bros. Okay, bye.
Sleep.
Sleep. If I cover my face, do you think they'll see me? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh. Did he take my dishes? Did he take my dishes? Yeah, no, there's yours. There. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hey, you guys. Hey, don't touch me. Hey, don't touch me. They're in my fucking ears. Hey, so the environment hurts now. I think he slapped my ass. I don't know how to get back. Like, I didn't know how to get back, but then it turned... Ow. Nothing hit me there. I just said ow. I don't know what you mean. Braving giant spiders to find dishes. Yes, I must wash dishes. I must wash dishes. Oh, hey, how did I get back here? This is where I originally came from? Hey, it's just getting real late. I think I'm going right back to them. Oh, my elevator! How the fuck did I get back here? Oh, hey. I lost my bin. And I had my ball. No, no, come here. No. Okay. You know, never doing that again. Never doing that again, never. The massive them dishes. I had so many. I had a glass dish. Damn, bitch. Okay. Maybe I wash dishes through the night. Like, let's gather these. Oh, where's my ugh. Okay, hold on. I answer the fucking phone. Managed to dial through safety? Noisy folks everywhere. Where the fuck? Yeah, I don't care what you're saying. The question, sadly, I cannot answer. Okay. There's... and also, this line's one way. Let's not veer off, though. Main concern is cracking into your home computer. Oh. Okay. Today, we're learning how to hack a computer. Extraction shooter? This is a fucking extraction shooter. I didn't know you were signing me up for extraction shooter. I just got signed up for extraction shooter camp. Oh, do me that. Sorry. In the depths or the elevator realm, whatever you like to call it, a floppy disk materializes daily. He's sending me on a quest. Who is it? Fucking Oni from Marathon? Sending me on a fucking quest. Jordy. Fucking playing Marathon now. Find it, pop into your computer, and then let it work magic. Unlocking it will be opening a treasure trove of knowledge to get you... Who's the worm? Out of contest? Comment? Moth is good. Eat the cards. Bye. Best of luck. Best of luck, buddy. I lost my whole fucking life there yesterday. What did I get as a gift? I lost everything. Oh. Computers for dummies. I don't want to read. I don't know how to read. I'm illiterate. I'm really... Where did this bowl come from? Did I put it there? Damn, that shit's dirty. I love cleaning bowls. Does it get dirtier? Can we get another level of dirt? Okay, water doesn't go on the bed, but bread bed. Bread bed. What if I put the cup in the bowl? And then we swishel it around in there. Do you think that'll clean it? A little swishel? Okay, well, I can't fucking aim. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. I'm cleaning the thing underneath it. I am a great dishwasher. I wonder if my box is down there. That was such a brilliant idea I had, though. Like, okay. like, grab my box and then take the whole thing down there? Oh, well, this didn't break. Red Bed is the name of a porno studio? That's crazy. I just have bread on my bed. I just got 1, 2, 3 loaves of bread on my bed. Let me down. Okay, okay, so we gotta find a fucking floppy disk. Oni wants me to find a fucking floppy disk. And then she will... Oh, I like this one. This reminds me of the back rooms more. I like this section. I think I take back everything I had stated. Well, we'll be taking up one dish for sure. Like, how am I supposed to carry all of them? Like, riddle me that! How am I supposed to fucking carry up all those dishes? You want me to wash them? Give me a fucking bit. Can I take you? No. It sure do look like I could. I'm gonna fucking stack. Did the guys actually tell you to go to the kitchen? No. But I will say, the guys in Rainbow Six Siege for sure have. Okay, so there's a cup here. I haven't spoken yet in Deadlock because I fear that may be the case for me. Oh, this one's going back immediately. This is glassware, okay? This is glassware. This is high quality glassware, okay? Don't smash it, everybody. If I break this, I'll cry. This is my life. This is my livelihood, okay? You guys can't make fun of me. I wash dishes. That's glass. With a lot. What if I stay up the whole night? Do you think he'll care? Like, do you think... I don't know who my boss is. Hey, buddies. Do you think I have a boss? What is this? Moldy? Cookie! That cookie just dehydrated me. Some classic insults never die. They never fucking die. Just like... What's that? Lemon! What? Oh, was that me making that noise? Is that a potato? Is that a potato? Is that a potato? Sorry, I look disgusted half of the time because I don't want to find things. Can I draw on this board? I just swished my face on it. I think I got called, slur- donut. Delicious. One more for the road. Oh, floppy disk. No, shit, fuck. I don't know why that's so aggressive. No, shit. Oh! No! My glass blade! Okay, this is more important. This is more important. My glass blade. I could have just come back for it. So I can, in fact, break that cup, and I threw that on the floor. How unfortunate. It lived? The glass plate did not live, however. That shit. It's not that late. Let's grab some extra dishes. Just in case. I don't know when. Okay, sorry. The compulsion spoke. I just started fucking coughing. I don't know when those guys started spawning. Or if they only spawn in certain places. Like, not in the back rooms, but in the mines. What's straight? I want to see what's straight. The mines. The nether. A small snack. Can I find another glass plate? Please? Wait, this is where I was. Nothing. Oh! Oh, we've done a full circle. Because this is where I was. This is where I've been. Oh, I can take that. Okay, okay. So this whole place loops. It's the fucking looping rooms. Hello?
Full circles are great.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. I was getting a little nervous there. I was getting a little nervous there. I was getting just a little bit nervous there. Full circles are great until that one became a circle. Okay, so this is precious cargo. Oh my god. Fucking hell. This is precious cargo. Drops it. This is the most important thing. Me. Phew. The mines. Oh. Good. Notice the IP pinging. Yes, I typed in the mines. Old internet docs online. Found engineers built. Failsafe to avoid trap. You need 5. I need 5 floppy disks. A Windows will appear, grab it, return, load into your computer. After all 5 messages unlocks. We're in this together. Did you have to do this? Good luck. In a few days. Okay, let me clean off my computer. Okay. Waterbed. Hey guys, I can't spell. Collect 5. Oh, so it's not even. Oh, you've gotten 1 out of 5. No, that was the first one to even open the computer. Now I need 5 more. Okay, I gotta wash dishes. He's gonna turn off the light though in a second. Mr. fucking Franco Bambino.
Sleep.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm washing dishes. What? Gotta make money. What do I get with the money? Like, is that just how many dishes? Oh. Do I have to be, like, gentle with this one? It's me shaking my mouse vigorously. I don't think this is how you wash dishes. Efficiently, at least. Drop it in a corner. Okay, so this one is... We're at 21.3. 42! Dude, the glass are so much more money. These are so hard to clean. Come on, it's almost clean. I don't like how don't like how noisy the silence is. The noise is getting quite loud, and I don't really like that. I guess I should just speedrun getting the 5 disc. I think that would be quite nice. I think I'm gonna go to bed. I think the music is getting more eerie. Oh. Me? Trust him because it's... Why is this literally like it's... This one's actually Oni? Who's the one who hates Oni? I don't think any of the AIs hate Oni. Maybe because nothing else upon which to anchor your trust? You can control or merely a pawn in someone else's game? Is it really so terrible to be a pawn? Yes. Is it preferable to... Oh. To being a rat ensnared in a trap. I don't want to be a rat. Ponder this. We shall reconnect soon. Wait. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name, twin? Okay. My friend just opened up Deadlock. Deadlock. Oh. Rude. I was sleeping. What a weird fucking game. Fuck. Okay, well, I'm almost done washing this one. I hate these mugs. I wish I could have poked that eye. Like, can I get... Okay. Expert cleaning skills. I wonder if I could find a better... sponge down there. Because this shit... Why can't I buy better sponges? I kind of miss the, is it Shipment 13? The one with the little cat? I loved that little guy. Okay, that in there. That in there. Okay, well, I'm not that careful apparently. Give me that. No, give me that. Does your computer still not work? This computer? This one? It does. It's just... I need to find more floppy disk. You know how many jokes I've held back because you said... Fair, fair, fair. Good, good, good. Oh, that's where I dropped that. Oh, oh, shit. Fucking missed it. No, I'm not going down there yet. I do need to drink water terribly. Full. Let me clean. There we go. I don't even know what the point of like cleaning the dishes is. Like, is that just like my stats? Like, do I absolutely need to clean dishes? Do I gain anything from cleaning dishes? Is it just like bragging rights? It's like, oh yeah, when I was in there, I cleaned 60 dishes a day. Like, oh, okay, buddy. No need to flex on us there. I could be playing Warframe. I can't believe I romanced Arthur. I'm so happy. I have my boy now. I have my boy. I did think I almost romanced everybody else because I did a little too good of a job talking to them. I'm just gonna take it as they really like me, and They like me as a friend. And they just trust me. Because 2 of them were actively trying to help me romance. I do wanna fucking kiss him now. I wanna kiss that man. I love that man. I love Arthur so much. He's adorable. I love him. Oh. Nothing more from him. Instead, you're doing what comes naturally. And when you shut your bitch ass up. You shut your bitch ass up. God, that's awful. That was bad. That was bad. Oh. Oh. Can I tell the computer to, can I like phone in a friend? And by phone in a friend, can I send in that friend instead? And by that friend, I mean, can I send Jordy to go collect the dishes instead? I don't want to be in here. Oh, I could jump. Can I be on top of Jesus? I am on top of Jesus. I don't think I like this. God, I'll get the dishes. Fuck yeah, I'll just send in Kev. Ooh, can I? Oh. Can I? You're telling me? You're telling me? Yeah, okay. Well, you know, half of the time I was just running, so... Not surprised I didn't realize. Ow! I hit my head on the fucking ceiling. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. Ew, ew, ew. Can I open that? Okay, nothing over there. Something on Steam just went on sale or something. I gotta find that floppy disk. I gotta find that floppy disk. Do these like open? Like what are these? God, doesn't fucking continue. Okay, let me check this. Gotta go back, and I gotta go back the... Follow the left wall. Ow. Okay, nothing. What fucking spooky shit is this? Oh my god! Oh, it was a fucking bear trap! Ouchie! My toes! My toesis! Okay, well, the left, I'd follow the right since, you know, that's fair. My toe, sis. Hell, I haven't found anything. The least of all is that I need new toes. I guess I can eat that. I need... Okay, I guess I'm just gonna hold on to that. I need that floppy disk. Oh. Hey, those little freaky guys are back. Those little freaky guys are back, bro. Why are those freaky guys back? Are they gonna come into my corner? Are they gonna come into my corner? Are they gonna come into my corner? In my safe zone? Oh. Do they have like a face? Are you staring at me? Are you looking at me?
Buy new toes, just for $5.99 per toe. Buy 50 and get 20% off.
Okay, so that does fully pause the game. Oh. I think they're congregating again. I think I have congregated the masses. The masses have established their presence. I don't know how many there are. Take that. Did they pack up? You guys are giving me mixed signals. Oh my god. You see their faces? Do you like dishes? Back. Back, you beast. Do they? Oh, where'd you come from? Hey. Why are you getting closer to me? Do they not like dishes? Hey, I don't like that he's coming right for me. Have that. Bye. Okay. So, unfortunately, we did walk very far into that. I do not know if there's a lot... There's a lot more bear traps. Locking in. Okay. Okay, there's a lot more bear traps. There's a lot more bear traps. That, like, caught my fucking throat. I'm hurting. They cut off my other toes. Oh my god. But I'm running out of breath. Can I drink this water? I can't even go to sleep. What if I go back down again? Is it the same thing down there? They're literally waiting for me. They're right there. I'm just gonna go to sleep. We'll find it the next day. It's okay. We'll find it the next day. Hey, can you tell me to go to sleep? Can you tell me to go to sleep? I really want to go to sleep. Oh my god, I could repackage my bed. I want to sleep right there. Me sleep there. I'm just gonna decorate our room for funsies.
Sleep.
Okay. Don't have to tell me twice. Sleep. To bed. Oh, perfect timing. He told me to sleep. Goodbye, fire. Have a good sleep. Have a good rest of your day. I'm getting tired of this stupid. Hey, mitosis, all I think of is the mitochondria. The powerhouse. Wait. Oh, wake up now. I'm gonna go piss girl really quick, so I'll be right back. You guys gonna be left with the eeriness of this. You know, I have a be right back. What does this fucking look like? Do I even have it up here? I do. Oh, I do. I haven't used that in fucking ages, bro. Anyways, you're gonna see it on this screen. Because Mochi, why do you look like that? What happened to you? Have a be right back? Yes, I do. I used it during the subathon. I need to sneeze. Fuck, bro. Okay, no I don't. Just kidding. My freaking blanket is... I don't know how much of this game I want to fucking play. I'm gonna fucking suffer. I ate all my bread. They're both... all the people that there. How did I manage that? I just need one. Okay. I'm wasting my precious day. It's the next subathon? I have no clue. I ain't got no clue, honestly. I can pick myself up and stream stuff. I maybe one this year. Sitting there, sponge. Oh, there's a cup in there. Why is the music so like... Oh, oh, instantly dirty. Nope, give me that. Nope, okay, fine. We clean you first. See, the bowls are so easy. You just swish in a circle. Maybe I'll clean both at the same time? Well, kinda did. I trap it in between the other dishes. Oh, the loud squeak. There we go. Can't believe they only give us like oh my god, regular dishes. Like never anything fancy. I had to go out and find the gold dishes or the glass dishes, and then I lost my frickin'... I lost my bin. At least I didn't take food down in it. And I had found one bread, but I ate like half of it, truth be told. No. No. Can do it. Look how squeaky clean they are. Fuck. Immediately. Go get your bin. It's gone. The bin is fucking gone. That's the thing. I lost it. It's fucking gone. I'll never get it back. I wonder if I should probably put this like closer. I like having it up against the wall. Clean the cup. It's almost clean. Yay! Okay. Man. I have to go find water. Otherwise I'm just gonna be... At least I'm full health. Oh, hello, Steven. Oh, great. It's the one I don't like. What the fuck do you mean the floppy disk was right at the fucking start? What do you mean the floppy disk was right there? And a golden plate? Okay, okay, so that's worth a lot. I don't know what I do with that, though. I just would like to find some, like, food or water. I had a lot. The one I don't... No! No! It's a... Sorry, I'm just fucking dying mid, donut! Oh, I'm really thirsty now. I'm not hungry though. Is this glass? Can I break it? I miss Leon. That's a lie, Steven, okay? It's a... What's this? Frick. What is this? We're taking it back. I'm so curious. Taking back my my new trinkets. I sound completely fine. Okay. I sound fine. I sound normal. I sound okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. This is fine. I love my friends. I get to see my friends in fucking August. Who did you just... Was it you who posted it? The other person who is meet and greet. Is it fucking Mr. T? Cause that's so fucking funny. Oh god, I'm fucking dying of water. Wait, it's a new day. Did I drink all the water I just got from the new day? Hold on, let's just go up to be safe. I do want those other plates and stuff, but I want to see if there's water. I did watch. Did I get any water from it? I didn't. Did I drink it all? Fuck, bro. Okay, you first. Okay. Okay, so decrypt. This is decrypt. What the fuck was that noise, bro? Oh, it's my tummy. Ew, what is me? My tummy doesn't like the fact that I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. I say all this while I continue to wash dishes. This is gold though, okay? Okay, I'm dying. Okay, I'm dying. Dude, Mr. D, convention, come on. That's just so funny. I think I requested the wrong days. Fix it. Good. Good, you better. Because I want to see my friends. I want to see my friends. Please. Didn't show us a really funny picture of him posting. He looks like 75. It's so freaking funny. Poor Mr. T. We're just trashing on him. I love him. I love that guy. No, really, it's just so funny. Wow, around Christmas time? Oh, why? Oh, this is another part for it? I just found really cool parts, though. You can't die, buddy. You can't die. Okay, we gotta find water. There's nothing that way. We gotta find water. Like, food? Yeah, but water. Hey, so IRL, my tummy just did something. Food, water, water. 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 And a group chat. Fuck yeah! Good, 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 good. Okay, health back. Okay, water would be really great. My tummy doesn't like something. IRL. What? I'm back here? Okay, food, water, water. I don't have... Tummy IRL is not okay. Okay, okay, food, water, water. Food, water, water. Oh, I don't like those noises. Taking all my things back first. Food, water, water. Can you send me a package? Oh, correct. Frick. I think they're both like equal distances. Fuck. Where's my toy? There it is. I must put the pieces together. Techno music? I have tears in my eyes. Burner, burner. Okay. Burner, burner. Burner, burner. Okay, so he's that way. So we're not. Fuck, 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 fuck. Hey, so I think I'm gonna actually just die. Oh, great! The one place I didn't want to go. Open it. Sorry, he's really funny. Sounding why he glow. I don't know why he glow. Oh, we're back here. Okay, I don't know where I threw my little magic box. But I definitely did throw that. Burn it, burn it. Please don't be in front of me. 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 Hey, I'm about to keel over. It was perfect timing. I looked down at my health. I found the exit and I found my little trinket. Oh, the meme dude glowing around the table. He does. Hey, wait. Do I lose any of my progress? Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Okay, so it just spawns me on the same day again. So they didn't fucking give me water. So they didn't fucking give me water. I think I'm gonna go straight down there. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. Dude, I watched Annihilation for the first time yet. 2 days ago. Never actually sat down and watched that movie until that. I think I need to get substance in my tummy. I'm not gonna lie. His tummy was going fucking batshit crazy, or I guess I should say my tummy. And then yeah, I started getting scared. And I forget, when I get really scared, I just become hungry. So catch me in a zombie apocalypse panicking, because then my tummy is just hungry. I was just gonna straight down. Do I have food? I'm gonna go get chips. That was a lot of thoughts. I got chips, which are absolutely awful for me, because they're the Lay's. The Lay's chips. Normal, nothing special about them. Oh really, you're gonna put me here now? The game is such a fucking bitch. What a bitch of a game. You know, it spawned me into the last one and gave me a nice little trinket that I was like, oh, what's this? I can build this. And then it said, oh, you exit the elevator door? And immediately floppy disk? Yeah. Glowing man. I hope you can't hear how many times I press F, because it doesn't want to press sometimes. And I'm like, please open it. Have you seen the people who... Okay, sorry. Have you seen the people who've been doing screaming or singing but with their mouth closed? So they're fucking absolutely screaming their head off, but like it's muffled. It's very funny. Oh, what's this? A golden plate. Oh, this definitely was like a sacrificial plate, but it's mine now. I shall sacrifice whatever that fucking eye is onto this table. You better not put down bear traps, because those really scared me. Also, my tummy feels slightly better. It was on completely empty, and if there's too much sugar in it... I just died. Why? I don't know. Bad bitches with tummy issues. Bad bitches with tummy issues. What's this? Is this fucking milk? Oh, damn, I do actually really need that. I was quite parched. Hey, I don't like the noises I'm hearing. Banana. Oh, banana give me water and substance. Come on. Oh, maybe I should be taking this food back up. I'm gonna eat that lemon. Like, how am I supposed to carry everything back? I can't, like, just put it in my fucking pocket. I don't got one. Nope, straight. I hate these bells. They're just, like, in my way. I mean, do I really... do I really need to wash dishes? I think I have 2 gold dishes. I think I have 2 gold dishes. That should make up a lot of stuff. If I find a glass one, I really want to see how much that's worth. Because the cup was worth like 20 or 30. I'm gonna eat the other half of that lemon. I really hope there's just not gonna be a bear trap that spawns. Ow. Bonk my fucking head on the bell. And the music's kind of getting a little wonky. Polygons. Polygons, I swear. Extract seeds? Oh. Okay. I smacked my mouse on my keyboard. Well, now I need to deliver this back because that's really freaking cool. I don't think I'm finding the floppy disk. I can't shake it like a maraca. No, my seeds! Guess I should keep it like really close to my face because then I won't lose it. Stay. What did I... Why is my tummy going bad shit crazy, bro? Banana bread? At work, bro? Hell yeah. There was a cup next to it, but it was a normal cup, so I think I'm gonna leave it. Okay, what's in here? Oh, ooh, delicious. Delicious. Stay right there. Quite delicious. If I could just find the floppy disk, that would be wonderful. Oh, that's what I've always wanted. That continues. Oh, it's a fucking gold plate. It's not what I always wanted. This is my main path. Placing that there. I'm just thinking about Leon S. Kennedy. Actually, I really like people's hear me outs right now, and it's everybody thirsting over Gideon. And it's very funny. And I'm like, yeah, okay, girl. Okay. There's nothing happening. You got anything? There's no milk carton on the table, so it's not the same path. Okay, Belle, you didn't need to be like that. Where the frick is this floppy disk? Oh, hey, I've been here. Shit. Okay, the floppy disk is here somewhere. Please don't break. The floppy disk literally has to spawn in. It spawns in once a day. She floppy on my disk till I wash. Damn. Damn. You right? Why do I feel? Maybe I should have some water. I think I'm dying. Whoa. She floppy on my dish till I... Okay, so I got seeds. Almost a whole dining platter. Roasting over a normal Gideon? Basic ass answer. He's stinky as fuck. Still. Great pick. Where, oh where would one put a floppy disk? Okay, not what I wanted to do. Where would you put the floppy disk? How did I have such a gutter runner? Oh, what the frick? Giving repo vibes? I can see that. Especially this part, yeah. I'm right, Bev. Hey. A little weird. Yeah, anyway, so we're gonna go back up. We're gonna go right back up. You're gonna go right back up. We are gonna go right back up. We are gonna go right back up. We are going right back up. Floppy disk who? Floppy disk who? They're coming for me. Am I gonna watch them? Hi, Joel. I hope you're well. See the little feetsies like poke through? Yep, they're here! Hi. Okay, so like, no floppy disk. But I got seeds? Question mark? This is not what I expected at all. I'm like, for your floppy disk. No, I need the floppy disk. I need it. Me floppy disk. Me want. Me need. Sorry. She's dying. Bye, Shaylin. Bye, Shaylin. I love you. What happens? Okay, let's wash these dishes. He's about to tell me to go to bed, too. Oh. No? There we go. Roast rats. For washing bowl. Ooh, there's a cup in this bowl. There's a couple in this bowl. There's a cup. Okay, the cup is out of the bowl. No.
Sleep.
I don't know. What does it want me to do with the ball? What you doing? What you doing? I'm looking for my rep in my game. 20 minutes? I just want to sleep. You're just having the worst time of your life. Oh, I just want to sleep. Where is it? Okay, you know. Frickin'. None shall sleep. None is allowed. I hate cleaning the mugs, and there's 2 mugs left. I mean, but like, what does the cleaning do for me? Like, what do I get? I don't get anything. I don't even get a trinket. Oh my god, that was a loud squeak. I get the other angle on this. I will get you. I'm a pro cleaner. Don't worry about it. It's almost there. Yay! Oh. See, the music's getting spooky again. Oh. Actually, it's not getting spooky, it's getting funky. Pro cleaner, right here. That's me. Pro cleaner here. It's like funky. Wake up now. I don't want to wake up now. Luckily, I have chip. Hey, so like, they stopped giving me food and water. I think they fucking hate me. Okay, we gotta find a floppy. What? What did I just say? What was it? Was that even English? I gotta find a floppy disk. I'm just gonna put these in here. We'll drain that, that's fine. Rub my eye as if I have no problems in the world. Whoa, I can see, okay. Spread for morale, and let's go. So as of now, we have found no floppy disk. She's not flopping on my disk till I wash. She is in fact not. What the fuck? Where am I? What fucking dungeon did I spawn in? Floppy disk? Dishware. Floppy disk? Nope. Dishware? Close you? Dishware? No. Floppy disk? No. This is gonna be rough. None. I ate the entire apple! Core and all. That's kinda... Oh. I don't like that. Okay, I'm gonna stick with the left method. We could stick with the right. Here's that thing again. I want this back. I want this. This is that little trinket thing that I found. Oh, that's the camera. don't know what that is, but safekeeping there. Don't run and eat chip. It's like don't drink and drive. I see, it's a camera. I'm actually just gonna drink that all. I'm actually parched. Quite parched. I am. Okay, nothing here. Nothing there. I need floppy disk for second piece to my puzzle. Please. Please and kindly. I must cross another moat. Oh, and another one. Hello? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's What the fuck is happening? Is this what loops back around? What the fuck was that? Don't die? I will be trying not to die. Let me see if this loops back around, because then I have a way out. Yeah. But like, what the fuck was that? I was mad at that joke. That's fair. Floppy disk. I want to know what that beeping was, though. Like, you you can't tell me you're not intrigued too. Like, what was that? What? I just have to remain calm. Witnessed what horrors was in front of me. And then run. You know? That's all I gotta do. Is it gonna be back like that? What is that? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hey, yo, yeah, actually, I ain't staying to figure out what that is. What eldritch horror is over there? What the fuck is over there? What is that? I don't want to find out. I do. I really want to see what it is, but I just found a floppy disk. But then I need the other half of my piece. But that thing, it looked like it was up. It was gonna fucking kill me if I stayed there. 4 more to go. I don't know what this is. So it stays right there. Oh, fuck. The music is very calm here. There we go, perfect. Okay, well I guess I do gotta wash some dishes, so... I guess I'll do this. What time is it? Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. Okay, let's get some of these out. What was that? Oh, yo, that's just me. Get in there. What happens if I, like, stay up the entire night? Hello, Giraffe. How are you? Washing noise sounds like 90s experimental music. Hell yeah. We're just here making music, you know? I want to drain this. This is kind of gross water. Oh. Pick that up. It sounds like SpongeBob. Okay, now the hardest thing's to clean. I can't freaking clean these mugs. They're so much harder to clean than like the bowls. Anyways, how are you doing today, Giraffe? Hopefully you're well. Please. Mina. Ha. Like someone's making monkey noises. When they're only read what monkey noise sounds like. Fair. Fair, fair, fair. Disconcerting climbing. Chip? What? Well, would you look at that? Well, would you look at that? Hello. Welcome in. I had to read it. I could not separate the fucking, like, words in your name. I'm not okay. My tummy hurt. I'm washing dishes. My tummy in the game also might start hurting soon, because I haven't... Oh, it's cleaned. Can the little voice overhead tell me to go to bed? Because I would like to go to bed. I want to know what this is. Around? Do we want to see what the Eldritch Horror is? Feel better soon? Yeah, I will. That sounded like a threat. Yeah, I think I will. But like, it's really just my throat. I'm gonna eat some chips while we wait for it to tell us to go to bed, because I don't want to see that Eldritch Horror. Not today. Made with real potatoes sounds suspicious. I need to sneeze. And I might start coughing. We'll see what happens. That sounded weird. But I know my body well enough.
Sleep.
Don't tell me twice. I think I fooled the sneeze. I didn't. It's coming back. It's making a round trip. No, I think I fooled it this time. One of the chips tickled the back of my throat.
Wake up now.
I don't like how it tells me wake up. Sneezing and coughing? Expel all the impurities. You're so right. Everything all right? Then I'll be in touch. Good luck. We'll catch up. Yeah, if you haven't heard much movement, it's because I stopped moving at the end of the day. Because I was not going back down into that evil place. Stupid ass joke. The chips tickled the back of my throat. And unfortunately, if I have the feeling of like, choking for some reason. Makes me sneeze. Like when the water goes down the wrong pipe, I will sneeze afterwards. If the gum is too spicy, I will sneeze. My body is, in fact, not very okay. Okay. The people, things using the dishes, doing to get them so damn dirty. I have no clue. I don't even know what they're like. Where the frick are the dishes going? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're sending me dishes and you're just throwing them down onto the floor? And it doesn't break them. Oh, great. Oh, how wonderful. I'm going through the stages of grief here. But the stages of the back rooms. I want to play back rooms so badly. It's the fucking library. It's the fucking library level from the back rooms. An eyeball. Stop watching me, eyeball. Wait, but I want. Can I take your ooh. I found that. She's getting clean. I finally can hear you. Yes, the dishes are getting clean. Oh, it is eyeball. Found the other floppy disk. Why are the people just leaving their dirty dishes? I don't like this level at all. I don't like the atmosphere of which it's creating today. Okay, it's just a mug. Oh. I don't like this. One ounce of spook and I am leaving. Something there enters my peripherals, my peripherals, makes a spooky noise. Oh my god, that was me. I need to find food. Okay, psychic. We're actually staying and we're finding food. That's a god-awful noise. I forgot about that. Food? No food. What do I do with seeds? Man, the fucking game knows. It knows I fucked up and it gave me the floppy disk immediately. But I'm like, I don't have food. So I'm gonna die of starvation. That's another one of those. I wonder if I could use it on the map somewhere. What's this? Metal parts. Sit there while I find food. Okay, stop making that noise. Stop making that noise, Tummy. It's freaking me out, bro. Okay, there's a lot of plates. There's a lot of plates. Okay, but no food over here. That's a complete dead end, which is kind of nice to know. Random mechanical parts over there. I don't remember which way I actually came from. Not gonna lie. Bowl. Is there like no food? This whole... That's what I wanted. Ah, just what I wanted. Just what I wanted. I don't really know where I am. See, I'm gonna fight you. Ooh. Okay, let's go back and get these items. See, there's another one. Frick. Okay. If I lose the top piece, that's okay. I really get itch my face now. Okay. So we're just gonna attempt. I don't care if I lose that top piece. We're gonna attempt to find our way back. I really don't like this level. It's this way? Genuinely think it's right here? Oh, frick. Fuck, bro. No, 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 no. I think that's gonna lead me the same path. The music is calm, but the vibes are not. And I'm running out of food and water. Oh no, oh no. I haven't found much food or water here at all. Oh, the door's right here. Okay, I don't want to go back too much. I haven't even washed the dishes. I don't have any food in me. I wonder if there's anything like right here. Really look at the shelves one last time. The like noise in this place is getting louder. I won't lie. So that's a little bit concerning. It's getting a little too loud. It's getting like really loud. Oh, I think that's my tummy. Oh my god, can we make it to the next day? Because I don't think I have extra food up here. Can confirm was in fact not my tummy. Okay. That wasn't my tummy. Which is very unfortunate because I am perishing as we speak. Can I sleep? Can I sleep? Hey. Overhead. Can I sleep? Can you please tell me to sleep? Can I please go sleep time? Because I am not going back down there. Just gonna, you know, just clean my dishes. Nothing bad can happen. Get out of... What you do in your final moments? Oh, just wash some dishes. My god, I have to wait so long for him to tell me to go to bed. I don't think I'm making it. No. My floppy disk, please. Oh. Oh, I got an achievement for that. Can I go to sleep? Can I go to sleep? Can I go to sleep? Can I please go sleep? I think I'm gonna die. There we go. The sound of a straw being— oh my god, yes! That's exactly what that sounds like. You were so right. Well. She's gonna complain to me again. Dude, I died. Dude, I keeled over on the floor. What do you expect? What a needy son of a bitch on this phone. What if I play Overwatch? I know I had the sudden need. This game is fun. Just not completely jingling my jangles. Where did this put me? Where did this drop me off? Not church again. I don't want to be here. I can't even force sleep. I literally am not allowed to sleep until that voice says sleep. God forbid a girlie wants to— is this glass? Oh my god. Okay, we're not gonna smack it on anything, you guys. Is this glass? I think it is glass. It looks like it. It does, sure does look like it. Me, this doesn't jingle my jingle immediately. This is glass, everybody. We gotta be very careful. It doesn't look like glass though, but it's like silver, but it's shiny. I think it's normal. I don't know. It's special to me. It's special in my eyes. That's all that matters. You know what an insane person looks like? This bitch right here. Because my brain's like, man, what if I just do a match of deadlock? What if I just do a quick match of deadlock? Fragile indeed. Indeed. Fragile indeed. Wee, indeed to you too, sir. Hello, Goober. Hello. Hello. Your normal plate. Oh. Can I please find food? Oh my god. I just looked at my food bar. You know, I may be eating oh, food. I may be eating IRL. Hold on, I gotta crunch my legs. And I gotta sneeze. The sneeze came back. Yes, you may. That didn't hurt that much to sneeze. I gotta sneeze again. Fuck. You got a 4, 15, and a 6. You might have a hard time falling to sleep, but I think you will have good sleep. Thank you for the bless you. Thank you. Thank you kindly. If you do play one, I'll probably play Deadlock later. That's the problem. I'm always playing Deadlock. So I do kind of want to play Overwatch, but Jordy fucking hates me and Kodiak and wants to play Marathon instead. Apple. Oh, didn't. Okay. I would say yes, Giraffe, but like at the same time, I think no, but also I think yes. But with Street Brawl being in there, I feel like it's a good wiggle room in. But I love the game so much and I'm shit, so if I can do it, you can do it. I want to eat, but I should. Evie? This game about washing dishes. Yeah. It's really good. What do you want from me? I want Deadlock. No, but I actually do want to play. I almost said Warframe. I think I'm not okay. I do actually kind of want to play Marathon. I do like the shooting in it. I like my silly little robot. And I didn't even get to try some of the other robots out. This is Dishwashing Simulator. This is in fact Dishwashing Simulator. You would be highly correct. Where the frick is my frickin'... Huh? Where the frick is my frickin' floppy disk? It's a horror game then? Yes. With some sorts of goofy power wash simulator type? You're not entirely wrong. Holy shit, water. I haven't had water in days. Oh my god, I scared myself. I just started sprinting. I'm currently lurking. I'm looking for a floppy disk. Unfortunately, I have taken a windy path of which I don't remember what turns I made. So I'm kind of fucked. I gotta find my way back. Oh, I found my way back. Surprisingly. Okay, I think I want to go back up. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous. Dude, yeah, people shitting on it is kind of sad, because, like, it's a really good game. I do really like it. Ooh. I also love that it's not AI voices. It's AI, but it's not AI voices. Unlike another game. Okay, this should be the way back. Why, yes. That's scary. Floppy disk? Floppy disk? Nothing. It grazes me with a floppy disk, and then it says, okay, you died. Guess what? None. So I'm afraid to tell everybody this is a normal freaking plate. I don't know, it looks slightly different. It just looks fucking dirty as hell. It's fragile. Where's my sponge? Oh. Can I put my toes in here? I can splash in the water? Okay. Oh, yeah. I forgot I had that. Did I have another one? Didn't I have another one? Can I wash this? Didn't I try to wash the other one? What if I... Did I just eat it? Hey, give it back. Oh, no, I turned it in. I turned it in. There's one of, like, the page thing. Oh, maybe that gives me other things. Just be... I don't think... They do. Stinky. Nice pricing, though. That's fair. That's fair. That one's understandable. Because games do be expensive. Wow, that's shiny. Am I really just gonna wash dishes for a whole stream? No, see, this is different. No, see, I was right. This is frickin' glass, bro. This is... Hey, guess what, everybody? Jordy214 just opened up Marathon. 87.9. Not worth that much. Why not just wash dishes for the rest of my life? And not in any funny way, just actually just... Okay, come on. At least it was easy dishes. I think there's a cup over there, but I don't feel like going to get that. I kind of want to go back down there to see if I see anything, but usually when I go back down there, there's bear traps that start spawning, so, you know, I don't think they want me down there, but I want to be down there. Kill some time, though, Chip. Where is napkin? 25. Money? Let's go back down. I'm getting a lot of spam followers. On my Instagram because I posted goddamn VOD videos on my other YouTube. But since they're all connected, they said, this one right here, get her. Get her. Beat her up. Maybe not beat her up, but you know, same difference. It feels like it. Meow?
UH, meow.
Okay. Why did it say you ate? You ate? Meow? Welcome back, bee.
You ate, meow meow.
You ate? KTTSP like, you're so right. It's just like me for real. For real. They say as I choke and die. Oh, this is the one that was dead end. But is there any food? Please, sir, I would like a scrap of food. Anything in these trying times. I don't know what dead end do.
Wee.
Hey, so like... I want to focus in on the TTS and all that, but there's a... See, that bear trap wasn't there before. There's a sweet, somber song that has just begun. Here, okay. What was that? Oh, my tummy in the game. That was my tummy in the game. I'll behave now? No, it's okay. You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. Oh my god.
Sleep.
Where is that dialogue from? Sounds familiar. The meow, meow is from Sonic. It's from Sonic. That's what that's from. Gay TTS. Oh, it did. Oh. I don't want to. Have you ever thought about that? Strange magic man. I'm not leaving your dishes there. Fuck you. Oh, wait, can I turn in seeds? We're gonna experiment with it. Okay, no, I can't. They just come back. Okay. They're going back on the floor. I have nothing to put in here. Gimme. Well, I guess. You're doing amazing. 11, 15, and a nat 20. Hold on, game. That was quite rude. I'm gonna do this. Just gonna eat my chips in peace. Hold on. Actually, it's quite comfy being no camera. It always is. Especially for horror games. Sorry, I just said horror games. Kinda choked on the chips. Yeah, you're getting like half chip ASMR. You're not getting the actual crunch, but like the bag rustling. Bag rustling you are in fact getting. I'm wrestling the bag? No, no, golfing, dude. I want to play golf so bad. I do actually genuinely want to play that golfing game again. That was so funny. I still have the clip because nobody else really saw it. My mic was fucked up in it though. I skyrocketed Jordy to the sky. He went flying. I sent him to the stratosphere. No cap, no lie. Sent Jordy to the stratosphere. I sent him to the moon. Okay, I should really be careful of the donuts, you know? I gotta turn my webcam back on, but also I'm just kind of vibing right now. Okay, we eat that. Normal food. Normal. Major update from last time we played. Ooh, snow maps. Okay, well now we have to play because like that's new content. New content. That's new content. Can I open the tomato boxes? Tomato boxes, please. I work all weekend, so I won't be able to play this weekend. But, oh, scared me. Fuck you. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out it. Hey, I tried to grab you. A day. Big rip. Can I have that? Oh my god. I'm a poor sucker that only works weekends, and I'm still sick though, so I'm gonna sound awful. My work friend is not here anymore. Well, one of my work friends is, but it's my friend and we work together. My other one is my friend that I have made from work. One of which I can ask questions about because we work at the same location. The other of which I can't ask because we don't work at the same location, so I don't know the type of vibe that we're going off of because we don't work at the same place. That's a very flat plate. But I want to see if I could just text the leads and be like, hey, this isn't me asking like, hey, please put me in this location. I want to be here. No, this is me of, hey, I sound awful. The throat is getting better. But I still have a little fake fucking cough like that. And I don't think I should be around people and make them uncomfortable. What was that? You see that? I guess it's just that. Like, you know, unfortunately, I do gotta go to work. Okay, so we've been here. If I follow left, it gives me a full loop around. But you know what I didn't fucking see? A floppy disk. I didn't see a floppy disk. Ain't getting any better. Awful. Disgusting. Is this the first room? That can't be the first room. We didn't see tomatoes like that. I've got it on my webcam. We didn't see tomatoes like that, and there was a thing right there. Come here. Come here. Get out of here. Nope, not you. Hi, Mochi. Okay, so we're gonna follow this back over here. If I can get... Don't creep around that corner like that, sir. Okay, if I can get the layout of this place, like, mapped in my brain. If I go that way, it's gonna lead me back. So where does this go? This leads me back to this part, which will take me back to the beginning. And yet, I still do not have a floppy disk. Oh, that's where I want to go. This is the boxes that lead me back to the beginning, Yes. similar to the other one, but very different. Just gotta find that freaking floppy disk. I did not like that noise, but that was just mochi. We're gonna stand here for a second. Fixing my hair. Okay. They're hissing at me. Ooh. They're all going to a corner. Person, want to say hi to her? Purring? Oh, we love that. Oh, well, I can't go to bed now, though. I only wasted so much of the day. I can run past those little guys. But, like, is it really worth it? It might be worth it. I did nothing this day. I just got a lot of food, but I'm just gonna waste it because I'm thirsty. You know? So what can I do with the seeds? What can I do with the seeds? Why are you eating on me? You know what's so funny? Is that how that looks for you? Completely fine for you guys. OBS just looks slightly weird with this game. But like, it looks completely the same. Okay, so we have washing dishes. We have Mochi prancing on me. Mochi. Then we have the elevator. That you bring a crate with you? You are provided a complimentary crate at the start of your journey, but you can purchase various items from the item store. There's a... What the frick is the item store? Just get back on me. Item store. Oh, you can skip days. Oh. Oh my god. Okay, everybody. This is what happens when I don't have supervision. Can I go to it? Oh my god, bro. I gotta go to it. We gotta get off it. I can't. What's that fucking Sonato? Okay, hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on. I only have one hand, okay? Oh my god, it keeps your... It's so fucking funny. It even has a pop-up when because I'm not signed in. That's so fucking funny. Okay, it breaks every time. Oh my god. Plastic crate, wooden crate, sponges. Bro. High-end. How much? I have fucking $90 food. I could have been farming. Purchase. Fishing rod. Let's do that one. I fear I'm gonna lose my crate again, so we're gonna use the wooden crate. So the game is so back.
Sleep.
Don't tell me what to do. Passive income, earning dish tokens. I guess I didn't really need that, but I was curious. I have a cat on me. Can't I not eat? Oh my god. Okay, so we do... Oh, is that a sponge? I didn't... You guys, I didn't buy food. I bought a sponge. One hand, perfect. You shut your bitch ass up. Hey, stop me. Okay. I also did order fertilizer, so hopefully... Oh my god, look at that. We're cleaning so much faster. Oh, look at that shit. Yeah, okay. I ain't fighting anyone today. I am, actually. I'm glad I fight everybody. I stand up for myself. I'm not actually cleaning anything, but I am. So we need money. Oh, is that a floppy disk? No, it's not. It can't be. But like, okay, so I bought fertilizer. What if, oh my god, no, B, it's even better. It's sleep time. You know what time that is? Fan fiction time. We can make it worse. We could type in Wattpad. I can put the computer by my bed again, and then you just sit there giggling, laying on the bed, mainly because I don't have a desk to put this on. Okay, I gotta scrap fish bait. But like, where do I put the seeds? Are they close enough? Hey, actually, I should have bought something really important. Okay, so I spent all my money. But now we're going to bed. Fanfictions. Not the fanfiction.net. Okay. Well, don't get mad at me. Okay, yeah, but I need to fix my cat first, okay? And I gotta take a drink of water. The game just got so much better. Don't complain. What have I done to you? Oh, resume. Mochi, I have no mouse pad. Girly? So, like... Oh my god, I wonder. Go do that. We're gonna clean these really quickly. I don't think I want to take my flashlight quite yet unless I need it. Solix Mock. Oh, B, I think I sent it to you. I know I sent it to Coco for sure. But there was, it talks about possibly a remake for, freaking, what is that called? Soul Eater. What we were just talking about. Oh, hello. Hi, Coco. Soul Eater. I want it again, please. Wow. That cleans so fast. Soul Eater summoned me. Literally was talking about you too. Because I know I sent it to you because we talked about it. But I don't know if I sent it to B about possibly a remake for Soul Eater, and I'm like foaming at the mouth. I'll pull out my old Erica cosplay. I love that frog girl so much. I love her. Soul Eater, I miss you. Oh. Okay, so how do we... Okay, we gotta try out multiple things. Okay, Mochi, my love. Yeah, that's you. There you go. Okay, you didn't want to? You didn't want to be on my arm even though you wanted to be on my arm? Oh. Can I, like, pick up something with her? I don't think I know how to fish. Nash, I love you. I hope you have been well. Okay. So we have improvements. We have learned I can... Oh. Is that a glass cup? Is this a glass cup, you guys? Oh, I didn't actually saw that one. You good? Getting old and stuff. No, you're not getting old. You can't say that. Well, now I have a whole new purpose in this game. I do need to get those dishes, no matter what. Okay. So now it makes more sense. You know, I didn't know I had a whole... Oh, brother, I hate this place. Mochi, move your tail. I'm kind of stressed. Oh, this is the last time, the last place we were at when we had that. I don't even remember what the guy sounded like. The techno guy. Oh, really, Mochi? Now? Okay, bye. That sounded really passive-aggressive towards Mochi. It wasn't. It was actually a pretty standard bye. Another one? Oops. Oopsie. Sorry, just banging my shit on the wall. Another one. Doop, doop, doop. Okay. Well, is this back at the start if I back it up? Okay. Our haul so far? 1. What's that noise I hear? I almost said, okay, we're gonna make the first right turn. There was nothing there. We do need to find some food. Okay, we're making it right here. Just kidding, we are not. We're going back, everybody. Okay, we're making a right here. We're going to try not to get lost. Oh, oh, oh. The mysterious pieces. Okay. So I got really scared. I got really stressed. Speed Racer is my favorite movie. Yes. What about Speed Racers? Did you get more Speed Racer content? Getting ooh, remaster? Yes, I did spend a lot of monies for my ticket. Yeah, but you love Speed Racer. I don't know why I've gone silent as if. Don't look at me, Ben. Don't look at me, Ben. Don't look at me, Ben. I'm also really freaking hungry. There it is. Open. Get the fuck in. I don't like Whistle Man. Anyways, that's exciting. When is it, I didn't know it was having an IMAX remaster. To go, my phone is getting- oh no. Save your phone. Please do save your phone. Get it not so overheated. I need to buy food. Okay. Did I have more water? Or did I drink it all? No, I do have some. Okay. We're gonna eat. No, we're not. I don't want to go back down there. We're eating. Be safe. Stay well. Okay. Okay. We found some dishes. This loofah looks like crackers. I won't lie. Like, it looks like a little cracker. Oh. Good plate. There's 2 days, 20th and 21st. Ooh, I didn't even know. That's very exciting, though. I should tell my dad. He would get along with my dad, Nash. He, too, loves Speed Racer. Let me let Mochi out. Mochi. Mochi did not want to leave, bro. Remember the live movie and the cartoon? Really got into it? Rip, you should. I'll ask my dad what the best, I almost said best Sonic, best, Speed Racer content is. So if I drop this in... It is! Okay, okay. Nash, I can show you my favorite thing of this game. Let me just wash this dish. Oh, this is the glass one too. So 16. Okay. F. You should not use this feature. Oh, hold on. Oh, I typed it in. Look where we can go, Nash. We can read our fan fiction, bro. We can read our fan fiction. Okay. Anyway, staying focused. What else can I do? We actually can, like, look up full fan fictions. Computer C214, okay. Let me just do this. Move the available commands down. Building start. Basic bed. Basic bed. Computer. Bin. To add buffs. I am a toilet. Can I use it? Furniture? Okay. Automation? Okay, but I gotta... Oh no, slot machine. I can gamble in this game. Food farming plot. That's what I need. 40. The whistle man's down the kiddie pool. While on the surface it may seem pointless, purchase the kiddie pool serves as a great body of water to fish. You need to buy a fishing rod from the store. Okay, so I do need a farming plot. But what if I get a kiddie pool? We're gonna put the kiddie pool in this corner. Oh. Guess what I do have? We'll put the farming plot over there. Oh. Hold on. Let's just grab this again. I don't know how this works. Do I not have bait?
Sleep.
Oh. Fine. Let me sleep. I didn't even upgrade my own bed yet. I bought a kiddie pool. Games on the work computer. Cool math games on the work computer. Cool math game. Hello? Oh, that was...
Wake up now.
That was kind of a really long time before I woke up. Hey, did I bring back my bin? I did. Oh. I like cleaning these the other way, but... It's okay, I can clean them pretty fast now. I'm really bad at, like, stacking them, though. Eh, good enough. It's right here. Squeak, 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 squeak. I mean, like, I guess I should put my dishwasher, my sink right next to it, because then I can just dump everything in. But I think it's better on the wall. Dirty water. Whoa, I missed. Give me that. This game like tickles my brain now. It tickles my brain now. It wasn't at first because I'm like, okay, well, what's the point? I just have to go down and find floppy disk. Holy shit, I could build a whole base here. It ain't just about the floppy disk no more. I could fish. You put it under where it fought. Okay. I like what you're thinking. Unfortunately, everything else that I order to would fall into the sink, but, you know, it doesn't damage it, so it's fine. Or I can at least, you know... Okay, hold on. Let's take that out. We could do this instead. Oh. We could do this instead, where... Oh. Instead of it falling right into it. Oh, hold on. It's right here, so I just doop, and then I put it there. We can try that. How much money do I have? 10. I had so much money before. I kept on buying stuff for things I don't need, but I did need. I actually should probably. I don't have money. I'm really close to the door. Hold on, let me back up. Oh. So I don't lose it. Or just put you in there immediately. Okay, so this one had the Eldritch Horror in it last time. Okay, so I can't go up there, but might be things there. There wasn't, but there could have been. Okay, nothing there, nothing there. Nothing in there. Last time I had this poor little bin. I left a half-eaten slice of bread in there. Not gonna lie. Oh, hey, look. Actually kind of need to eat that, but I'm gonna run out of water if I do that. Up to. Why are they here already? Like they're already out and searching? I mean, I could just skip a day. But I do really gotta find, the floppy disk. Bread bed. Bread on bed. Wow, that actually looks like a normal, like, stack of dirty dishes. How long have it been? It's clean. Oh. It's normal dishware, it is. Normal dishware. What if I fish? Because I think I'm gonna end it after this day anyways. This game, honestly, weirdly, I really like it. Oh my god, there's a smiley face on the fucking sponge. Fish bait. Purchase one of those. Because what can I do with the fish? Oh. Okay. What? I think I just wasted my money. Okay, I think I hate fishing. I think I hate fishing. I don't know how to fish, bro. I don't know how to fish. I don't know how to fish. Oh. Is fishing false? Is bait false? Ooh, what else does it say? What if I read this again? I need 40 though. I have $11 in my pocket. Let's just go down and see what happens. I should bring my basket. Sorry, gotta bring my basket. I can't be a chicken. We're going down there. Does Bash just pull up? I think so. That wasn't really clear. He's right there. Do you hurt me? I don't know if he hurt me. He's just kind of blocking the path a little bit. I don't know what he means. He's leading me to his people. Too close? There's a second one. Come on, get out of my fucking way! What if I have a box? A bin and a dream? Yeah, they don't move. I have a box. You scared of the box? Last time I had a box, you guys took it from me. Oh, oh. Oh. Okay, he do hurt. Hey, guess what? He took my box again. Oops, get me in. Hey. Get out of here. This is my elevator. Balls to the wall, fuck you! Ow! He ate my ass. Can he come in the water? Fuck you. He's trying to smack me! He's trying to smack me! I hate him. I also did drop my box. And they're gonna come find me. They're gonna kill me. Hell. Oh, things, but I'm really hungry. I'm really freaking hurt. And I don't know where I put my box. Ew. I just stayed up there fishing. Hey, if I die, I get back my money I spent on fishing. Oh. He was a lot closer. Oh. Why did it look like I tripped? Okay. That's it for today anyways. Finish the one day. Can I buy? Do I have enough? No, I had $5. I have $5 to my name. I don't have enough money for farming. I bought all my stuff for farming, and that's really cool. I just didn't know how to do it. Games only save when you sleep. I freaking died, buddy. How many things? They survived 13. I don't think I survived all 13 of those days. I watched 77? That's crazy. I do like this game. It's kind of funny. Kind of a nonsensical game, and I do like that. I'm gonna end stream so that I can go get some stuff done, learn a script, and do things. Where's my music? Apata. Soda Pop? Yeah, Elton John. You can stay. I gotta check out my Warframe. I actually have to do that in a bit. I'm looking at my fake clock in my hand because, I'm actually wrong about the time. I have to wait till a little bit later to actually be able to talk to my Warframes again. Anyways, yes, have a good rest of your day, everybody. I'll be back on Monday. I should be better by Monday. If I'm not, that's crazy. If I still sound like this on Monday, I mean, I have a doctor's appointment on Tuesday anyway, so it's okay. But, man, when I'm talking, it doesn't feel like it hurts, and then I go to, like, swallow, and I'm like, gulp, that hurts. That's still swollen. It's not as bad, but like, it's bad. Anyways, bye-bye from here. I love you all. Please take care, and I'll see you all on Monday. Hopefully back with some energy and everything. Other than that, take care of yourself, everybody. Have a good weekend, and I will see you all soon. I love you, Nash. I love you, Nash.